Mike, thanks for joining us again. There's been a lot of people that I know that have pre-orders for the Bel Canto at the moment. So this was the huge release from last year. New dial variants were released, and then there was a pre-order schedule.
Yeah.
You've been doing a very good job of keeping people up to date. And I think the last update was that there was a further delay, but I actually was going to get a copy of that email to ask you about it. But Todd, who is a friend of the show, he got another email to say, actually, the production is freed up a little bit and he's going to be getting his sooner. For the people that are waiting for the Bel Canto pre-orders, how's the production been going? Expecting any more delays? Or
Thank you for asking, because it's an important subject. Particularly for those people who are waiting for their Bel Cantos. I'm not going to lie, we getting up to speed has been slower and taken longer than we anticipated. As you know, Sam, and we've spoken about before, it's not exaggerating, I don't think, to say that we are trying to do something that nobody's ever tried before in the volumes that we're doing. And we've had some issues with the odd supplier who hasn't been able to accommodate the volumes that we're doing. And so we've been remixing suppliers and working through, and also because we're very, quality standards are absolutely at the top of our agenda, and we could have sent watches out earlier. We chose not to because we weren't happy with the quality. Particularly, we had an issue with the bridges, just the finishing on the bridges, and the bridges are so critical to the look and the success of the Bel Canto. No compromise is ever going to be taken. So it's been a harder struggle to get to where we wanted to be. The good news is that we are now beginning in the next period to be getting up to much more the speed that we anticipated. We've always done and always will do is communicate any changes at all to all those who've got Bel Cantos on order. And I must say, the response from customers has been astonishing. I mean, they very understand how difficult an exercise we've undertaken. There were no rules because nobody's done this before. And we've come up with a number of very innovative approaches that are going to stand us in really good stead now for the future, because, we've got in our thinking and in our new product development plans, we've got some really interesting watches that will benefit immensely from the production chain that we've now got into shape for Bel Canto. So, I'd like to apologize to anybody that we've had to push back a few months in terms of their Bel Canto order. The one that they're now receiving them, and I can only say to those people that nearly everybody who has received a Bel Canto, whether it be the original limited editions or now the few who've already started to receive their new colours that came out in January, the number of people who write to me and say this is the best watch I've ever owned is astonishing. So I think all I can say is it's likely going to be worth the wait, because these are very special timepieces.
Just to clear up one of the other things that people have been asking, there's not been a delay due to the damage of the Salita factory?
No, God, no, not at all. No, not impacted at all. I mean, that only took place a few weeks ago anyway. We're not going to be impacted at all by the Salita movement. No, it's much more the areas that are outside of that sort of normalized route. I mean, so the platine is an exceptional component, is a critical component of the Bel Canto. Machining that to the highest standards is critical. And again, as I say, in the sort of volumes that we're doing, setting up of the CNC machines, having the ability to make sure that the platines themselves come out as clean and as perfect as possible. Because if they don't, that then has an impact on the polishing and the finishing. So, that is also true of the various bridges. So it's relatively few components are the issue, yeah. But we're not ever going to compromise, so the parameters within which we are working here are so fine that even the slightest problem in the machining of a component then has this. Most components in most watches are hidden. Yeah, you scratch a bridge in a movement that's in a closed back case or it's on the front side, doesn't matter. Nobody's ever going to see it. When you're exposing above the platine, as we are with the Bel Canto, these critical, beautiful components, then best you're careful. Our standards are extremely high. But there was another example as well, completely different element, which was we had some steel delivered for the manufacture of the hammer. The steel wasn't quite up to scratch, so we had to send that back. And yet, the batch of steel clearly had some elements of problem with it. But by and large, it's been the finishing on either the platine or the bridges above the platine. And we've been taking on more people because of the volume. Finding in Switzerland at the moment, the right caliber person, difficult. So you're having to train them. So the training of these people has taken a bit longer than we anticipated, et cetera, et cetera. So all of these things have a knock-on impact. But, the team in Bel have done a brilliant job. And, they keep reminding me, certainly, that nobody's done this. This is new territory. And as I said earlier, the wonder of this is that we're going to have established something that will have positive ramifications way into the future, because some of the things we're looking at are just incredible. So, in a year's time, maybe a bit longer, you and I are going to be having a really interesting conversation about something. And that will go through the similar sort of supply chain that we now have established here. So it's been hard to get it up to speed, but it's getting there. And I think we're in a pretty good place now. But we'll keep our customers engaged and keep them up to speed with any changes. And as I say, they've been quite remarkable in their understanding so far. That's really about it as far as the Bel Canto is concerned.
So the message to everyone on pre-order is you'll keep them up to date.
I absolutely promise. We've done so thus far. We've kept people up to date. There's a series of emails. There's 6 emails where we're showing people the detail behind the production of the Bel Canto in great detail. People have loved it, actually. And I think that's gone some way to having people understand what a complex animal that we are creating here, and why a delay of some sort is probably not a surprise, and why it's certainly worth waiting for, because they are.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining us, Mike.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you, as ever. Thanks, Sam.